Thanks very much, Nigel. We're just going to have a little bit of a chat around school club links. Can you just tell us first and foremost, why did you establish a school club link with Penrith?
Initially, the school link, which is the same for a lot of clubs, is to help recruit players. It'll be 20 or so years ago we started, and we had a particular age group we wanted some recruit players at. So that was one of the key ideas. The other thing was then to share knowledge, facilities, to share really, because we've both got the same aim. Obviously, school, we're trying to look at lots of sports, but we're actually targeting just the rugby side of it. But there's so many things you can share at different times. A club or a school can have stronger resources, maybe in coaching. Going back when we first started, the schools were really strong with the coaching teams, and that was good to bring in the club. We've got facilities we could use then. We're looking now, we've got the RFU 365 artificial pitch, so that's a good help for us. So now we can help the schools, whereas previously they often helped us with facilities. So it's just that real, just sharing so many things you can share.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So how did you initially make contact with the school or any educational establishments, and were there any barriers there for you?
It's an interesting one, that, cause when you talk to the clubs, they do find it difficult sometimes to get that relationship. The advantage we had is that, and again, a lot of clubs would be similar, a lot of the teachers were players or members of the club, so getting that contact was reasonably easy. And we go back when I first started, then one of the first team players was a teacher there as well. So usually that is there, but one of the key things is trying to get that rapport built up. It's just so important that you're both on the same wavelength, what you're trying to do, how you do things as well. You know, what your sort of philosophy is. Is it all about winning, or is it about player development, which generally should be. And how do you look after the children? So that should match up with the school. You know, how qualified the coaches are, what approach they have if they're going into school. So a lot of it's getting that rapport and making sure you are on working on to the same sort of goals really. And once you get that, I think you'll find the relationship then does develop. But it needs a bit of work to start with, definitely.
Excellent, thank you very much. So how did you as a club fund the programme, and were there any particular funders that you sort of attacked, for want of a better phrase, first and foremost with that?
Funding, yeah, quite a bit of funding comes from the club itself, but then a lot of the time you don't need a lot of funding because it's volunteer time, volunteer hours, so that can be the case. You know, obviously a lot of clubs would have maybe part-time development officers who can go in, who are getting funding from different areas. Obviously Sport England, RFU obviously used to give some advice, and they have put some money occasionally for them sort of projects. We've got active Cumbria in our area, but it's just a case of them looking. There's lots of pots of money around, but it's just spend the time looking for it and see what can link into what you're trying to do as well.
Right, okay. What would you say the main things were in terms of the kind of benefits for both parties from the relationship? I know that you've touched on some things initially, but were there any real benefits to both parties that you can see from what you've had over the years?
I think one of the key benefits is it reflects well from both sides in terms of being professional and working together. Obviously, it is good from a parent's point of view to see that the school and the club are working together, and then sharing knowledge, again, just sharing things in general, just to help give the children the best opportunity. So I think that's one of the key aspects of it.
Excellent. What would be your top tips for other clubs if they're looking to start a school club link? Do you have any top tips in terms of initiating it?
I said previously, getting that rapport, getting that thing getting it all set up together from the start is really important. Once you get that set up, then things will work from there. It is important that it's viewed with, if you want, from a player point of view, so that you're working together to make sure the player experience is good, so that there might be times where the club have to then maybe change the fixtures or not have fixtures because of the school fixture priority. Some of the schools at different times of year will focus more on rugby, and maybe the club needs to work with that so that the parents aren't going, hold on a minute, my son or daughter is training 4 times a week, or we've got 2 or 3 matches a week, you know, why don't they work together approach. So I think that's it's really important that you both seem to do that. So that's one of the key messages.
And around the kind of player safety aspect with that, I know that you as a club and the school as a key partner, you have like a sort of WhatsApp group to sort of measure how much people are playing, to communicate around injury and stuff. Do you want to explain a little about that?
Yeah, it's something the welfare officer suggested at the club. Aidan mentioned it, and the 2 heads of PE and just himself are in that group, so they can share confidential information if required. Just it is things like concussion. You know, there are lots of people out there listening going, oh yeah, we had a lad turn up with a headache, played, and then we got told he was concussed in a school match 2 days ago or something. So those are things that we need to really pass on and make sure they're there. And there's all the emotional issues as well. We need to know about, again, confidentially, but just to make sure, again, it's a joined up approach with the player safety and player welfare part.
Brilliant. And I know that you've mentioned a couple already, but what other organisations have you linked with over the years to make the programme a success at your club?
In terms of, well, not just schools, local colleges.
Yeah, wider.
Well, yeah, young farmers clubs, just anywhere where there's young people. We've often done sessions and tried to link through. And it doesn't have to be about rugby. It can be health and fitness. We've linked up with a company for the old ones talking about driving.
Okay.
Unfortunately, one of our young players passed away accident driving, and so after that his father was very prominent in promoting safety. So that was quite good because you catch them at 16, 17 before they just start and talk about that. And obviously with sponsors like banks and people like that come and talk about things. So there's a whole range of community partners that you can work with.
Okay, brilliant. And one of the key things is actually getting the individuals from one environment to the other. So what have you done to transition the students from the sort of school environment to the club environment?
It is that one face, I think, is a real key factor. So that ideally you go into school and do some coaching and get to know the children, the boys and girls, and then obviously encourage them to come to the club. And when they arrive at the club, there's that same face. Hopefully, they'll, you know, when you do a session, there'll already be boys and girls there that go to the club anyway, so they won't be going totally on their own. I think it's important you have that same person there linking through. And I joke about it, but I do tend to hang around the car park entrance, waiting for people to walk in up. Sometimes it's quite daunting. The rugby club's a daunting place, so you have to say, you know, wave them in, make sure they don't turn around and head off because it looks a bit scary. Mind you, with my face, I probably scare more often.
I'm sure it doesn't. A friendly face always helps. What do you see are the kind of wider benefits from creating a club school link? Obviously, we've got the sort of transition of players coming across. We've got the sharing of knowledge. Is there anything in addition to that you would sort of highlight?
Yeah, it's linking into all the other aspects of running a rugby club and running a rugby team. So, referee development. We've been actually talking with the schools who we have now and try and get some more boys on courses so they can referee down the ages at the club and at the school. There's funny if we're just actually looking to recruit at the moment to help with social media. So again, it doesn't have to be a rugby person, it can be anybody at a college or a school that would be interested to help with that. We also have sports leaders teams or sports leaders within the schools, get them involved in projects. Example, years ago, we used to do the tag rugby with the RFU with yourself, Liam, and we'll get sports leaders in from the school to help with refereeing, to help with organising the event. So there's lots of benefits for both, because obviously our work experience even as well. We've had people on work experience from schools in the club as well. So yeah, lots of opportunities.
So you're talking about a lot more around, it's more than just rugby, and that's increasingly what more clubs are doing. They're sort of opening up their offer, and it's good to see that you guys are generating some success from that as well. And just finally, what's your USP as a club, and did that help to sell it to the educational establishments you've worked with? Because I know over the years you've gone through primary schools, secondary schools, colleges. Have you used the same approach with those?
What's your USP? Good question. Should know that, shouldn't you? You'd probably say it's doing things well. Just doing things well, because it's okay going to schools, making contact with people. You can spend a lot of money on promotion, advertising. At the end of the day, if your product isn't great, then you won't get much response. So so generally, it's that reputation out in the community for helping people develop, helping them enjoy their life, as it were, make friends, all the things that we highlight in rugby and so on, sports. So I think if you do that well and you do it professionally, that's what we're seen as. So that's why we attract a lot of people in.
Excellent, good stuff. And just finally then, is there anything else that you would add in terms of advice, guidance, or sort of tips for people looking to do this for their club? Because it is becoming increasingly more important that the clubs sort of do this nowadays. So anything that you can offer would be greatly received, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is that talking to schools and finding out what their needs are. And I say, in the past, when our schools had a great coaching setup, but staff change, and so people would sometimes assume that everything was fine, but actually the club said, "Oh, can you give us some help on the coaching at the moment?" So it's really just keeping that close link and knowing what the needs are. There could be something new in the school, a new focus, which actually the rugby club could really help with. So that's the key bit, just keeping that contact, seeing what's going on. And another good tip is to try and get a cheerleader in each age group. In each school, we have several schools, so try and get somebody in the school that helps recruit, keep the lads informed, keep the teachers informed as well, what's going on. And if you get one in each school, at each age group, hopefully then you're getting a good consistent message out there. And also you're getting the information back into the club as well as to what is happening at school and how things are going with the rugby at school.
Brilliant. And I know just you always sort of touch on the quality of things as well. You know, you don't want to be sending someone into the schools who maybe isn't qualified and what have you, or doesn't have the experience, because obviously that first impression is really important. So you've mentioned many times about the quality of what you're delivering and the reputation that you build on the back of that. Yeah,
and that isn't always easy, because you need to find the right people to sometimes volunteer to go to schools through the day, and so it's not always easy to do that. But yeah, it is key that you've got that quality. You know, schools obviously have high standards with the teachers, and they would expect that same from anybody going into a school. So someone with a teaching background obviously is ideal, but certainly understanding the school environment is really important as well.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, Nigel. Some great tips there.